Hello everyone, Macintosh here. Now, in this video, I will be talking about the Vanguard Uplink podcast by CCP Games, which you see playing in the background here, as well as the Mimitar Quarters and an earlier video related to it. I'm going to talk about that. And also, I'll be talking about the Algos weapons testing world and my recent experiments. Let's start with the Vanguard Uplink podcast. For the individuals you see in the video behind me, we have CCP Monty, who is the host of the podcast. He's the one sitting across the table. And as for the two guests, there's CCP Ritati and CCP Collins. CCP Ritati is the one in the black shirt that's just looking casually at Collins right now. He is the game director of EVE Online. CCP Collins, he is the game director of EVE Vanguard. Now, let's look at Ritati's history for a bit. He was previously the lead developer or game director of Dust 514. He earned that position late into the life cycle of Dust 514. He was able to make the game much more playable and enjoyable not long before the game shut down and the PlayStation 3 entered end of life. Because of this, he earned the respect of veteran Dust players. This segues into CCP Collins. CCP Collins, he became well known almost immediately upon entering the stage at EVE FanFest in 2025. May have had a few too many beers while casually dropping F-bombs on stage. Positive ones to be certain. And he is also filling the same role that Ritati held previously, but for EVE Vanguard instead. With the brief introductions aside, let's talk about what they discussed in the podcast. Now, in no particular order, they discussed the game's current stage, which is in pre-alpha. They also talked about EVE Vanguard's identity. Is it an extraction shooter, an MMORPG, or an MMOFPS? They also talked about the primary focus of Operation Nemesis being on the new player experience, or the new player journey as they like to call it, the gameplay loop, the narrative or lore, bringing in as much feedback as possible, which may affect early access set for summer 2026. They also announced that Operation Nemesis is going to be starting on the 16th of September. Now, according to the event announcement posted on the official Vanguard Discord server, it will run through the 2nd of October, so we got at least 2 good weeks. The event will be open to everyone. It's free to join and play. It only needs an EVE Online account, and you only need an alpha account. Now, with the podcast out of the way, we move to the next subject covering the Mimitar Merc Quarters. Previously, I uploaded a video about the quarters approximately 11 months ago. It was removed about a month after that. Here's the explanation. It is no secret that there is a privately owned server maintained by a very small group of players in their free time. The privately owned server is what helps run Dust 514 via the RPCS3 emulator. However, it barely runs consistently. It is not always up and running. The emulated copy of Dust 514 is broken, and how stable Dust runs on my PC depends heavily on which version of Dust I have installed. So the privately owned server is held together by duct tape and hope. But according to the rules, I am not allowed to post any videos I recorded of the emulated copies. There are other rules, but that is the primary focus of this topic and the reason for the takedown. This is to ensure that the server stays at least above board and continues to run at a semi-official capacity. So Dust 514 isn't truly dead, but it's practically an emulated shell of its former glory. As to how I'm able to use Dust 514 assets to create my worlds in VRChat without legal issues, for starters, the terms of use regarding content creation as posted on CCP Games' official website allows for the use of assets from CCP's IPs as part of content creation on video sharing platforms like YouTube. It allows for monetization as long as it's through ad revenue, such as YouTube's AdSense program, and it allows for free distribution of the assets. The terms of use, however, do not permit selling or paywalling of such assets. There's also the fact that I use only mesh assets and textures extracted from Dust 514, an earlier public version of EVE Vanguard, which explains the modern Lente Scout dropsuit that I have as an avatar, and EVE Online, all with the help of Thaddeus Reynolds and Possum when it comes to model and texture extractions. No code was ever taken from these games to make these worlds. VRChat runs on the Unity engine, and the worlds I make are built within the limited framework or scope of VRChat. Any custom script you see running in my worlds were handmade by either me with the help of my friends, such as Fundale or Dandrid, or they were directly written by Fundale himself, such as the network synced toggle for the DMX lights, or the synced toggle for the camera screens in the Event Horizon Lounge. Finally, we move on to talking about the Algos weapons testing world. I will be talking about the changes I made to the pea shooter prefab that was made by Melon, as well as the introduction of NPCs and what I'm missing so far. For the pea shooter prefab, the scope has been modified by removing the generic cylinder. The targeting sight when you aim down the scope has been modified using a... Excuse me! The targeting sight when you aim down the scope has been modified using a UI element taken from Dust 514 precursor build. The audio files when firing the weapon and reloading the Galente assault rifle have been replaced. The alternate fire modes have been adjusted, and the three-dimensional cube for the alternate fire switch has been replaced using a part of the mesh from the Galente assault rifle, such as right over here in the back behind the scope. Right, come on, seriously? For the NPCs, I'm using the Unity Navigation AI, which uses the nav agent component on the specific NPC models, which then walks on the nav mesh, which is baked on parts of the ship's surface, all while following a script that tells them where to go. These are pretty basic setups that anyone can cobble together. As for what is currently missing, I still need to figure out proper damage and walking animations. Notice how this guy over here is moving like a stiff board. I then need to tie in those animations to the NPCs, while also figuring out how to get them to target and shoot at the players. There's also the scoreboard or leaderboard that I want to learn how to set up. VRChat has a persistent system that lets players save their progress on certain worlds with that function enabled. And finally, I need to start importing the drone models that Thaddeus Reynolds has extracted from EVE Online for me, specifically the Hammerhead and Hobgoblin, to match the theme of the world. As for what I have currently planned, I do plan on modeling the interior of the Orca, which you see above me, and use it to create a challenge area similar to Titanfall 2's Gauntlet. I made the initial sketch of the interior for the Orca, and I plan to utilize the NPCs as part of the challenge. And I also plan to model the custom barriers, doors, and even personal protection objects like a riot shield that you can carry. And that's it. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and as usual, fly safe.